What's up, guys? I'm gonna do something a little different here. Now, I'm already gonna tell you the title of this video is a lie because the song's already written. But I thought it would be cool to walk through the process with you guys and kind of give you a little glimpse of at least my experience trying to write a song. And I can't really do that from the get-go when there's no song to talk about, because it seems like most of my songs, the experience of writing them varies dramatically sometimes. So it's kind of hard to just say, hey, this is what I do, because it doesn't really have a set schedule. Whatever I gotta do to get it done, it seems that's what I'm doing. So this time was rather interesting, so I thought it would be cool to share. Started yesterday at work. As most of my songs that I really care about do, they start with a very intense feeling that I have. Obviously, it's something I have to be passionate about enough to dive into that emotion and dive into that feeling for an extended period of time. I mean, if it's just like, oh man, it's raining out, I'm bummed out, like, you know, it's kind of hard to work with that just because you're just kind of creating something out of nothing. But then there's these times that I get these really deep-seated like frustration, anger, pain, you know, whatever the regular range of emotions could be. Unfortunately, mine seem to be spiraling more around the anger, frustration, and sadness realm lately. But there are songs to be written in those categories, and there's listeners in those categories, and that's not why I write, but you know, it helps me cope. So I was at work yesterday feeling pretty frustrated, had that real intense emotion, and I was about to close. It was time to get out of there, and I had a really kind of snappy idea in my head of some kind of just 4/4, almost rappy-esque rhythm, kind of like a Brandon Hardesty, you know, something like that. So I was just kind of writing little stanzas in my head, and I realized I do that all the time, write little lines in my head or get cool ideas of like phrases or different ways to say the same thing. I'm always thinking about it, but when they're connected to that emotion that I'm feeling, that's when I'm like, ooh, okay, all right, and then I keep going. And so in between closing, I went back and started writing down what I had. And I'm trying, usually I write everything in my notes on my computer, but what I'm trying to do is get a little more physical, a little more tangible. Howie had that great idea, and no, I'm not trying to copy you, Howie. I just, you know, trying different things until something works. And in this case, this seemed to work, having something more physical to be more intentional with what you're writing down and be a little more, I don't know, it just kind of adds to the experience. And that sounds very weird, but wrote it down as best I could and had most of the song done, but I had some basic rhythm in my head, but I had to kind of sit on it and just remember it until I got up to Akron, where I had access to a guitar, and I was able to actually sit with the idea, try and put together some type of a rhythm and a melody, obviously, around what I had written, because I wrote it around something in my head, and I didn't really care for how vanilla it was, so I wanted to change it into whatever I thought it would be. So from there, after, I don't know, probably half an hour of just kind of scrubbing this down, rearranging some stuff, and kind of changing some words, adding some words, filling in things just to get the phonetics and everything flowing better with the melody that I had decided on, I transcribed the whole thing into my Notes app on my computer. And I do that because if I want to play them at gigs, I have the Notes app on my iPad, obviously, and if I want to, you know, send it to somebody or show it to somebody, I always have access to it on my laptop, phone, iPad, whatever it may be. Whereas this, the only bummer with this is it's only there. You don't have access to it everywhere. So that allows me to have a finished note that's also dated, as long as I don't make any edits to it. So May 5th, 2025 at 9:46 was the last edit I made to that, and usually I just end up leaving them unless I accidentally fat finger something. So that also gives me something to go on if I like were to post something and maybe somebody were to rip it off or change it, which would be the biggest compliment ever, but you know, you just kind of have to protect your ass just in case you got something there. And so this one is called Head Underwater, and I sat with it last night and just recorded a quick scratch demo in my voice memos just so I wouldn't forget how it went. Then when I woke up today, usually what I'll end up doing with these songs is I'll have a pretty good idea of where I want it to go, how I want it to sound in my head, so then I'll record an actual demo if I feel like it's worth it. My process for that is to go into Logic, and I'll either record it through my dynamic microphone recording mic that I have, or lately what I've been doing, I've been getting a little lazy, and I've had the privilege to be able to have something like this that makes it so much easier. It's just a recorder with these two mics here. No, they're not going to give you the best open mic sound, but they have a USB-C out, so I can just put that in my phone and hit the voice memos and just track with this little recorder, and it allows me to have a decent audio clip to throw into my phone. And then from there, I will airdrop it to my computer, which may not be the best means, but all this stuff I learned as I went, and this is just how I figured it out. I found a way to make it work, so I'm sticking with it. So I'll airdrop that little audio wave to my computer, drag and drop it into Logic. Dude, give me a second. And as you can see, it has the stem there. It's a vocal and guitar track. This one ended up being about 4 minutes, 30 seconds. And from there, what I'll do is just add some little EQs. I mean, I probably spent half an hour on the editing process of this. As you can see, I have a little bit of a channel EQ, a couple compressors, just because when you're dealing with one mic audio for guitar and vocals, there's going to be some disparity in volumes and things, so you kind of have to work the mic while you're recording it to save yourself some time later. But the compressors there can help kind of bring everything along a similar level. Then I just added a little small room reverb, just because I don't like dry sounds, so I always like adding just a little bit of reverb. Then another EQ after that. This one I think I had adding a little bit of brightness that some of the compressors and the first EQ kind of took away. And then I'll add a third compressor, a different type. This one's just more of an analog with a low attack, and it brings out some of the output gain just so it's not clipping in any way. And then I throw a little limiter on there, just again while I'm setting my volumes. And then Logic has this cool mastering assistant, whatever, it takes like 30 seconds. So I just do that just to dress up my demos. But like I said, I spent probably 30 minutes on this whole thing just to get it as listenable and as clean as possible for my liking. Then what I do from there, I re-airdrop the finished edit to my phone, so then I can have access to it. And it'll go into my Files app. And then from there, I usually, if I feel really good about whatever song it is, I'll send it to my mom, my dad. Certain ones I may send to my grandpa, certain ones I may send to one of my buddies, and just kind of whoever I think way give me the best advice. I'm not looking for, wow, buddy, that's great. I'm looking for raw reactions, and I just kind of pick and choose who I think is going to give me the most authentic reaction for whatever that style may be. So I got that finished, and it allowed me to have it in my phone so that I can like listen to it in my car. And this whole process, with just a little bit of editing at least, gives me more exposure, more experience working in the DAW, more ways to test different things, more theories that I can try and overcome. But then also having my finished product, I never do the same thing twice. Having that on my phone, then I can listen to it over my AirPods. I can listen to it in my car. I can listen to it in different settings if I feel like it, just so I can get a better taste of what I did while I was editing those little bits and see how they react in the real world, all those things. So when I write these songs, I am not just really writing the song, I'm also trying to learn every single part along the way. I mean, yeah, I wrote it down in a notebook, went home, transcribed, finished it up. This one came a little bit easier because I was still really feeling it, but that's one out of the, I don't know how many, maybe 20 recently that I've been trying to write, and I've started, or I have like a verse but I can't get anywhere, or I have these really cool melodies that I just can't pair up with anything. So it's not like this is an everyday thing. I mean, I would love for it to be, but that's, I think, one of the more important things I'm having to learn is that sometimes when you're creative, or when you're trying to be creative, doing nothing is doing something. And that's totally the opposite of how my brain works. I have to be physically doing something to feel like I'm making progress. But the more I try and do that, the more I try and force it, the less it's actually going to happen. So it's nice when you're able to capture those little moments of inspiration and actually be able to put something together and the pieces can all come together, because it's a very, very satisfying feeling, especially when it doesn't come out half bad. And I think this one's pretty neat. So thank you for following along with me, and hopefully some little insight of my crazy, jacked up way of doing these things could maybe help somebody out there who is just starting. It would be awesome if I could offer anybody any type of assistance in any way. But also, if you see anything that maybe you've tried before that I'm kind of heading down the wrong path with, or you have any advice, whatever, I'm all ears. I'd love to hear it. So thank you for watching. And if you guys want to hear this song, let me know. I'll post something out and you guys can hear a little bit of this. So see you guys next time.